Here hex 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 hex. Here hex 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 hex. Here hex 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 hex. Here hex 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 hex.
Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Eco Builder here for another episode of Hex Guild, where we're the badasses inside the Hex community. We haven't budged a bit. We haven't created new coins, tried to sell you shit. We ain't grifters. We're still here. As you know, I set up a treasury and I mint it, whenever I put $3,000 and divided it up, 15 times? And then it multiplied to 30. Because of our pulse chain copies. Yeah, all you folks who got one of those, we're hoping you're going to stay around, and if you're not, then we're going to make an example out of you. I give everybody in the Hex community permission to ask those non-Hexicans to take Hex out of their Twitter profile names. Wink, 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 right? Here we are. Bitcoin has reached a new high, and we know that money is coming into Pulse Chain. Is my mic okay? Give me I don't know. Let's see. So everything's going really well. You can see the prices down below. Hex is at almost 2 cents. Pulse Chain is up basically 50% from SAC, and PulseX is basically down 40% from SAC. And then Inc has been the latest thing to talk about, what's happening with the incentive token. If you don't know, there's a slow amount of inflation inside the Inc token. I think it's like six tokens per second or something like that. I'm not exactly sure, but it's been a topic because like Richard poked a few people by saying that it was a meme coin, and oh my gosh, that just made everybody on Twitter bitch and moan, and it's hilarious. But I hope that you guys have diversified inside of our ecosystem, and I hope that you've got tons of passive earning coming to you. And here in the near future, you'll be able to slowly harvest that for a wonderful gain. We've with like all of crypto, it's pretty interesting how like we started slowly seeing people come back in and get on the stage in crypto, and so it's exciting times because it's uncharted territories, because we've reached new Bitcoin highs. And Ethereum actually is quite up there. I don't know if it's at an all-time high, but it's probably 3,900 right now, 3,800. Timestamp that. But we have the capabilities of doing so much for the world here in our ecosystem under the leadership of Richard Hart. So we meet here weekly in order to talk about the current events inside of our cryptocurrency community and how we're affected or it affects the surrounding world. And we always talk about things related to homesteading, permaculture, believing in abundance, understanding how nature works, manipulating nature to get what we want out of it. And that's what we do inside the chat, t.me/Hex Foodies, also t.me/Hex Guild. The reason why it's called the Hex Guild is because we understand the multifaceted human being and all the topics that we could talk about. Just yesterday, I was inside of a Twitter space, and Facing Reality was in there. I hadn't talked to him in a while. Shout out to that guy. He said that he liked us dividing up the topics and having it to where, like if it is that you don't have so much energy towards a certain topic, then you can just ignore that topic, and then you can pinpoint what it is that you have interest in and really drive that home, drive your points across to everybody. So that's pretty awesome. Um, let's see. I guess I should check on the treasury. Speaking of the treasury, I should check on how many days we have. We probably only have like 100 days until the next one comes out, maybe even like 50 days. As for the last treasury thing, we still need to apply that to something, and probably the lowest cost thing because of the value of it. I think we have like $42 or something like that. So that might go to something like seed balls or something, but we haven't exactly figured out how to reverse source. We need to find somebody to sponsor, to donate to. I was trying to figure out, why is it that I don't hear myself correctly in my ears? It's because I have double headphones on. So what's up, guys? Let us know what you want to talk about in the chat. And Diraj is in the green room right now, and then Marcus is on his way. Maybe Marcus will share more about what's going on in his life. It's been a while since he's caught up with us. Diraj was just talking about how what you were talking about.
Ta-da!
I'm trying to remember his name. I just had a huge blank. Uh-oh, we got
So,
reverb.
there were a lot of things I wanted to talk about, and I have said this multiple times. I am kind of schizoid, and these now I feel like these live streams are more of a documentation of my mental sanity. I have to go through them to check if my mental status is deteriorating or not. But
So
I
go
also
ahead and lay
talking
down.
that we were
Go ahead and lay
yeah.
down and
So
tell me your worries.
no, it's not about my. I am not worried about anything. Thanks. Like always, plug in like, hey, thanks to Hex, I don't have to worry about anything. I am minting money while I'm sleeping, kind of. But yeah, first I wanted to say I was listening to Wales only and some of his macroeconomic takes. I find them quite boring sometimes, so I decided not to postpone this live stream. Just continue. The other thing I wanted to talk about was regarding uh, there was a Joe Rogan podcast with Cat Williams. He's a comedian. He went kind of viral when he did an interview or another podcast where he called out Joe Rogan for like promoting bad comedians, not and being like a shield, but. And I was hoping some kind of a controversial conversation going on. But while on the Joe Rogan podcast, his tune completely changed, and they ended up talking what Joe Rogan normally talks about: aliens and the lost city of Atlantis, and just Bo- Bob Lazar and Area 51. But what I really found out was strange was only the last couple of weeks, Joe Rogan has started reposting on YouTube where I was able to listen to the podcast. So he's no longer exclusive to Spotify. Yeah, I don't know what the deal is going on, but like, and then the beautiful thing about YouTube, most beautiful thing about YouTube is the comment section, and you go read through the comments, and like I was laughing like how do these people like where do these people come from? So
There's
other thing that is why
they're all on
it
different
was kind of
stages. They all like, you meet people at all different stages of their life and different energies and, ups and downs, and their narrowed vision, each one of them is a fiber optic cable tunnel that's just set in its ways.
yeah but what I was saying was yeah, so that also contributed for me to create this the title of the stream as well as the thumbnail. You know, I wasn't able to use Bing. I kind of exhausted my what do I call it?
Your free tokens
Boost
for the day.
boost free tokens for the day. So I used Gemini, and somehow uh, which is Google's AI. Somehow I feel it created a some more what I wanted. Like it somehow connected better. Maybe Google has more data on me than Bing or Microsoft. But what a poetic like I I find it now the question that whether AI art should be considered art is different, but I find it kind of poetic. Like it is March, that is why we have a March in title, the month, and we have a band of monkeys marching towards the cliff, or uh, so it is what I wanted to like. I feel like what is going on with the whole social media, and I think in people in general, everybody thinks they are playing their own tune, but they are like in kind of an automatic sync with other people, and there is this cacophony which sounds like a tune, and at the end of the day nobody is kind of has any orientation towards where they are going or where this is taking us. So
Mhm.
yeah, I
Yeah,
find it kind of amusing.
we're all along for the ride. It's
And like
There's so much human
so
potential. We could be organized, and um, the world could be so much better, but instead we're told that it's limiting and that we're poison. There was a guy that
eh,
I used to pay attention to. He ran the Crow House, I believe, thecrowhouse.com or something like that. Max Egan, I think is his name. And he had a book that was free to download. And um, he actually did like really good short videos about why we're in the position that we are. And he was saying, like, based on the population that we have, everybody could have 1 acre in Australia, and we would still have the rest of the world without any population whatever. So the issue is not that we have problems. The issue is that we have management problems. We're not organized correctly.
yes, and like we were saying before, at least I like to speak about abundance, which there is another I wanted to link the monkeys in the thumbnail to another theory, even though not exactly about monkeys. It's about apes. I think maybe people have heard it, or I may have mentioned it earlier. Uh, I think it was the Great Divide theory, or so basically there is this uh, assumption or presumption, or that there was uh, the African continent got divided into two halves, north and south, because of a river, big giant river, and the monkeys towards the north, or the apes towards the north, who were subject to kind of a uh, resource depleted environment. They developed a different attitude, and they became the chimpanzee. And whereas those on the south, where things were more abundant, they became the bonobos. And like, the difference in attitude, like chimpanzees are more kind of a more aggressive, bonobos are more docile. There are like, the chimpanzees have a fixed hierarchy. Bonobos aren't. So when, like, basically when you are subject to what do you call, when the resources you available to you are a few, you try to maximize individual resources. And that's why, like, there is more, people are more offensive, uh, trying to guard their resources. But when the resources are abundant, no, there is much less violence. Also, speaking to what you were saying earlier, if there was another study, or I think a blog article I read, that if everybody lived in the with the same kind of population density that there is in uh, Singapore, like, the whole world's population would fit in the state of Texas.
Nice.
I, I like, so Texas is that that huge. Texans like,
Texas
uh,
is pretty huge. And
yeah,
I think about like the time that I drove out to Vegas, and it just goes on and on and on. There's wind farms out there, solar farms, there's oil lands, there's mountains. Yeah.
yeah. Uh, so yes, so the resources are there. It's just a matter of efficient distribution, as well as, yeah, people are kept divided. Even on the internet, like, uh, regional blocking is still a thing. I don't like, if everything was like, there was just one global internet, no censorship according to countries, how different it would have been. Like, even now, like, we can't actually see what people in China are watching on their YouTube stream, or what the Russians are watching. So it's kind of, people are kept divided, people are kept under the illusion. And
Yeah, I
so
think that um I think that Cuba, I've said this a few times publicly, I think that Cuba is a controlled situation, and it's so silly because it's the United States claims that Cuba is, opposite politically. However, we have Guantanamo Bay over there. This base where we're able to hold people and hold them in a way outside of the US law. And then strategically, Cuba is a wonderful positioned island, and it actually is probably the best island in all of the Caribbean. It's just silly to us. It's just such a um it's right under your nose. It's like your parents telling you about Santa Claus. It's right under your nose. It's right there. Anyway, um so Marcus is in the Telegram chat saying that he's about 10 minutes away from his computer or something like that. Um so I don't know if we want to wait or if we would just want to go on without.
So like we will go continue going on as long like I have so many things on my mind. If I at the
Okay,
point
because
of
I
time
don't, so go ahead.
at the point of time I whether where I realize I'm talking gibberish or people point it out, then we will stop. So I hope, and I think even Finbear is on his way. So, like if we continue, he might join. Let's see. So where was it? But speaking, you were talking about Cuba earlier. I was listening to a talk by Michael Parenti. I don't know. He's kind of famous. Uh, a, a communist. I would call him so, or Marxist. His lectures, and he like I think his what was his famous book? Um, it's very similar. It's very similar to Noam Chomsky's
I hate Chomsky.
manufacturing truth or something like that. Like, but my point was, yeah. So that's a different like. Yeah, Chomsky is more of a controlled opposition, I guess, and we like Noam Chomsky is much more famous than Michael Parenti, which I'm like they're both making the same point. The especially regarding media in general, how like manufacturing consent is manufactured using media, basically propaganda. But apparently didn't get as much as views as Noam Chomsky. But again, I what I was saying was I was listening to his talk from 1986 and listening to it again. Like if you just change
Uh-oh, you cut out. If you just change what? Oh, Diraj. I hate your fucking internet connection. Oh my gosh. All right, here we are. Welcome to the Hex Guild, folks. Once again, we ain't the grifters. We will make you successful. Just stick in there. So you were telling us about 1986.
yeah, his talk from 1986. If you change a few names, like if you replace Russia or the USSR with China, uh, what was the other thing going on then, like with mm, uh, so things are very much the same that uh, basically how American imperialism controls the world is his kind of topic. I find it very interesting. I Yeah, that was one thing interesting I was listening to. We talked about Joe Rogan. I talked about the uh, mm, yeah, the last thing I wanted to talk about was the other contributing factor for the thumbnail. The new movie, Planet of the Apes, something part two, like the new series, and it's so shitty. Like, why are they like they are pushing CGI into everything, like and making it even worse. So,
Is Planet of the Apes a movie or a series?
I
Like what
it's
you're
a
talking about?
movie. Three-part movie. Yeah, the one.
I know the old
Okay,
ones.
the old ones. Where uh, this one is called Kingdom of the Rise of the Kingdom of Apes or something. But I, what was I saying?
Do
The
you think it's a
CGI
mind
is
fuck?
so.
Do you think it's a mind fuck for like evolution sake?
Uh, I don't think it's from the trailer. It doesn't look like that, but it does feel like woke propaganda for street. Like, I think the last Bollywood movie Hollywood movie I watched was Avatar 2 to see the special effects mainly, and blue boobs on the big screen. But
They're nippleless, right?
CGI,
They don't have a nipple, right?
I don't remember again.
Well, you
Yeah,
mentioned it.
kind of whatever. But yeah,
You don't want to go down in
the
history
thing
calling out the
was,
blue nipples, huh? We're
hmm,
rich. We're famous. Everything's going crazy.
no, no. The point I was going to make was like, see, with technology is getting better, we have better GPUs, better screens, but CGI somehow is getting worse. Like, and it's becoming, it's falling into that uncanny valley. Like, it feels eerie. Like, so it,
So,
soulless.
so let's see. There's a guy on YouTube that I keep up with, and he does like two audios, audio videos per week or so. At least his screen name is Quantum of Conscience, and he talks about, or he has talked about in the past, CGI purposefully being bad, because the level of CGI is actually really, really high, and it's being held off to the side for our fake alien invasion or whatever it is out in the world, or even false news, so that you don't you don't see that as fake CGI, because you have been empowered enough to understand that CGI is actually lower quality because you saw it in that last movie that was probably run by Disney. What do you think about that?
Yes, I think there is part to it, but my theory is kind of different. I blame end stage capitalism. It's basically what other choice do you have? They can put out the shittiest movie or a shittiest CGI and get away with it because you basically do, they know people are going to watch it anyways, so they can get away with it.
I
uh,
don't believe it.
uh,
I don't believe it.
yeah.
I don't allow people to have an easy way out, man. They're literally, we are being surrounded. Like, don't think your enemy is weak. Understand your enemy is strong.
No, but so what
Do
do
you
I,
guys have
and
good do
we
you guys have
kind of,
good movie theaters over there?
yeah, I guess,
Do you have the
yeah,
3D ones in your town?
yeah, yeah.
Cool.
Look, I live in, I think yeah, we did a
You live
kind
in
of
a
a
city.
walking tour of where I live. Yeah,
Yeah.
so I live in what is sometimes dubbed as the Twin City for New York, in Manila.
Oh, really?
So everything, yeah, all modern facilities are available here. So
Sweet. Finn Bear's in the chat. Marcus is in Telegram saying that he's not going to be able to make it because of his cell phone. Um, Finn Bear says that he's still stuck at the location that he's at. Therefore, he will not be joining us.
all cool as long as you are guys are watching or listening, and please do, if you are, just listen a little longer, maybe turn the speed to 2x. That's all what we want, our ideas to be heard, which again another which kind of reminded me of another monkey thing I wanted to include. Have you heard about the 100 monkey theory? uh, uh,
100 Monkey. I thought it was where there's monkeys on two different islands and they learn at the same time.
yeah, that's so that theory, even though it has been refuted, kind of, like, but yeah, once some, they, I don't know how they came up with that arbitrary threshold of 100 monkeys. When 100 monkeys learn something new, the 101st one kind of automatically learns it.
Mm.
But
Okay.
on a different island, they tried to show it on a different island. But it's like, you believe it if you want to. There is no the evidence is weak, but people still believe in Santa Claus, like, so you can believe in it, either. uh, so
Hazel Hex is in the chat.
uh,
Hello, Hazel Hex. And then Daniel was in here earlier. I'm not familiar with Daniel. Do you know Daniel Polk?
yeah, he's been around in the community for a
Cool.
long time. I've seen him on Matty's stream, like, in chat with, on Matty's stream, Discourse Syndicate. So I think, yeah, I think he's there in the Hex Guild as well. So
Awesome. Daniel, nice to see
he
you, and I apologize. Still here.
and he's still here. Still here. Um, yeah. So he's also one of the OGs. At least I know of. uh,
Sweet.
mm,
Hey guys, if we have any topics to discuss, put them in the chat. We're grinding right now. Red Squirrel, oi oi. Welcome in.
yes, and like, this is what the problem is. Like, I forgot to write these things down. I wanted to discuss the treasury thing. regarding seed balls. We did a live stream, I think almost a year and a half ago. We were discussing seed balls. Uh, seed balls, where one of my friend did the project actually. So the I didn't put out the results of the seed bombing project, mainly because the output wasn't that what do you call it, attractive. The though like I think he saw a couple of seedlings take root, but none of them survived for I think more than 3 or 4 months, because like for a tree to grow, initially it requires some shade and other support from other trees as well. So that's something is not was available in that area. So yeah, the seedlings did not survive. And to like think about it in retrospect, like if the how to
I can
call it,
imagine you would need like a cover crop or something.
yeah, a
You know,
cover crop.
have stuff starting a bit, and then of course you need intermittent rain. You need a little bit of rain to boost it here and there. So you
Yeah,
can't do seed balls in a drought, sadly. My
yeah,
cover crop
so
has done amazing. I've covered my 0.1 acre with cover crop, and it's just everything's just blown up. I got peas, radishes, some sort of winter grass that really exploded because we had rains at just perfect times. And I'm expecting some rain tomorrow. Let's see, I think tomorrow evening, and I just got a delivery of soilless trees. So they're just bare root, and they're like 48 inches long or 36 inches long in between. Um, there's peach and plum, even though that plum I could have I could have cut and made new trees from cuttings, but I think I have a lot of apples because apples have proven to be really good in my soil. So I've had a lot of success with the apples. So I'm going balls to the walls with those. And over here, by the way, I'm in Central Texas. Over here, it's spring already. Things are blossoming. And some of the trees, it's really interesting. Some of the trees, fruit trees that I have here, some of them are slow, and some of them are early. And also, I'm starting to figure out exactly the little pockets that I have, like the cold pockets or the hot pockets. It's pretty interesting. Permaculture teaches you to not touch land for a year, like live on the land and witness what's happening on the land for new perspectives. And then what I'm learning is, implement something and then sit there and watch it even further.
yes, observation is like the first step towards discovery. Uh, what was I saying before that? Yeah, so seed bombing, we were talking about. Yes, if you think the environment is like suitable for just throwing seeds and them growing up, it's good. But if the terrain is going to be rough, then we will need some some of the gardener's shadow to be there to like enrich the environment,
I don't know,
to
man.
give that.
You might be able to just take pioneer plants. You might be able to take things that are natural to the region and start spreading those around. And then
Yeah, so
maybe they develop it so much that they lose their job.
That's the thing. Like if those what do you call it? Natural or regional plants weren't growing there in the first place, then it's likely they will need some kind of intervention for them to grow. So yeah,
We're
like
not talking
we will
about a
have to.
sandbar out in the middle of the Sahara. We're talking about, place. We're talking about incremental foresting, let's say.
Yeah, so basically, so from what my friend did was basically the area is kind of a what do you call plain, like no, there are just maybe a few shrubs here and there, otherwise it's kind of covered with random weeds and at sparse distances that too. So a few like the taller fruit trees, like I said, it needed a more shady kind of environment which wasn't there, which also reminded me like one of the previous stream. Somebody was asking whether earthworms are good for your soil or not. So I randomly came across this video regarding earthworms, and maybe it's on a channel called Minute Earth. Now that channel is kind of funded by the Gates Foundation, so take whatever they say with a grain of salt or a pound of salt if you want. But what they're suggesting is the thing. See, earthworms are eat through the mulch layer on top, which is required for tall trees to take root. Like in the initial seeding, like seedling phase, uh, the mulch of the leaves, etc., that forms the base of the forest, to the early part of the growing seedling. What uh, the earthworms do is they eat up the mulch and take it deeper into the ground. So those tall trees uh, don't sprout as like those seeds find it difficult to sprout. So and they are like they are outcompeted with ones with deeper root systems and grasses. So what can happen is the forest get converted to savannas, but which it's kind of a trade-off, I would guess. um, but at but now this occurs at a kind of a large scale, right? So at a local garden level, this doesn't affect you. More earthworms in the soil are going to be good for you. So okay,
Earthworms
over
are
and
good
out.
for creating soil. Your compost pile, put some earthworms in there and help create soil. I would say anything from the Gates Foundation is absolute garbage. You should have read that and clicked exit out of the website.
Hey, Finbear's in the chat says he has a foot of ice at his yard. That's hilarious. He's over in Finland, of course. Johnny 5555 He says, "You guys are so smart." I think he's being facetious. Are you changing the world yet? I want to help. Well, Johnny, we have some techniques that you can utilize. Let's say that. I would like to know, in your area of the United States, are houses going up for sale like crazy right now? Please answer that question. Hex Fetty, what's up, man? Ink looking good. Yeah, totally. I mentioned that earlier in the stream. A foot of ice is crazy, he says. Okay, Johnny555. Speaking of the flat plane we live on, isn't it wonderful that we're not going to talk about aliens? Don't worry about it, Daniel. But isn't it interesting that more and more people are talking about how we don't have evidence just with our eyes? Nope, we're not going that way. Okay. Oh, sweet. HOA is announcing that he was born in March. So we're ready for your birthday, man. Happy birthday, early birthday.
The deckable, what is that? The deckable atmospherical plane or something. You can't trust your eyes. Yeah.
Isn't that lovely though? To tell people you can't trust your eyes, and then they have to find new sensory.
Yeah. Or don't trust, I mean, what other people tell you your eyes are seeing. Like the boats go over the horizon thing. Like, yeah, it looks like the boats are disappearing and they're going over the horizon, but then you can zoom in and see them. So it's like, what's really going on? People, the assumptions that people give you. Wonderful stuff. Johnny, have you so obvious to slide. Yeah, pretty much. But have you noticed a lot of Johnny's tweets? He goes pretty hard in the paint. If anyone's following him on
Twitter,
on the old tweeter,
he is Kraus 5555, I think, on Twitter.
is that what it is?
Tin Top in the house, welcome in. Finbear says that he was 3 feet deep of snow a week ago, and now it's warmed up a bit. So what's going on in your life, Asperger's?
Not much. Just loving this.
Yeah, right.
Price action. I prefer to be up here than down there.
Yeah. I was in a Bitcoin a meetup.com Bitcoin group last night virtually. All those people were celebrating. It's pretty awesome.
Yeah, I don't know who was calling Bitcoin all-time high this early. I don't recall too many people being that bullish on Bitcoin.
Well, we were sitting there waiting to figure out what the ETFs were going to mean. You know, was it going to crash it or was it going to pick it up? And it's, of course, picked it up. It actually accelerated it, right? People are talking about how we're way in front of any sort of bull prediction.
Yeah, I'd say so. I was not expecting this, but I was also not expecting Hex to be down as low with Bitcoin up so damn high. But there's definitely, like, the last time Bitcoin was at its all-time high, I wish we had the chart comparison, but it took a minute for, people to speculate back into Hex to move any of those gains from Bitcoin into Hex. Because I know we peaked after the Bitcoin.
Johnny, I'm going to punch you in the gut if I see you in person. I'm going to go up for a hug. I'm going to be like, Johnny, can we hug instead of shaking hands? And I'm going to punch you in the gut. I'm going to do it to Finbear just for the hell of it too.
Now they're going to see it coming.
Yeah.
I have to kick him in the nuts. Looks like there's a potato over my ass.
All right, guys. I've got so much shit to do around here. Oh, over on the postcards group, we're still trying to figure out exactly what we're going to do going forward, but there's a lot of discussion over there. What is the appropriate way to go forward? Because it would be so good to get postcards in the wealthiest zip codes' hands. And so we've got tons of records from people posting complaints on Twitter, because they were a part of finance or crypto in their own realm and calling us a scam, of course. So if anybody doesn't know about it, over there at t.me/Hex Postcards, and then also hexpostcards.com is where we're organizing some stuff. And then also, if it is that you have any ideas of wanting to print material yourself, if you're looking at like stickers or coasters, like bar beer coasters, you could go to stickermule.com. That's what I've been using lately. Or your local printer, give them some money. Or you, and then if it is that you've got like paper printed stuff, like cardstock and stuff, like business cards, I recommend you go through our Hexakin Philip Banks. He has been printing off our stuff for like 2.5 years now, ever since Hex Postcards was created. And he'll do it at cost. So imagine, guys, I could help you design a card, or you could, learn Photoshop or use your own Photoshop. But once you have that file and you're ready to print, we could probably get 3,500 business cards printed for like $80-$90, and that's sent to your door in a box. It's pretty amazing. It might boost the Hex community if we put tools that people are happy about in their hands. So I just wanted to pass on that idea, because I have thought about posting to Twitter like, hey, does anybody want to be sponsored? Because I will spend $80 on somebody to have custom cards that will last them, a few years in their hands. So that's something to think about. And then also here in Texas, I've put out the idea that we could sponsor people to be like local Hex representatives in their area. So if they raise their hand and they're not a grifter, we could send postcards with their name and number, and actually make them, should I say quasi representative of Hex? But I think that would be really awesome if we did that sort of thing, like had it to where there was a Hex person that people could contact, because people speak so many different languages. And whenever it is that they see, I'm talking about like languages as in like social, whenever it is that they see a phone number that they can call immediately and get more information, or set up a time to set up a meeting, that speaks very well. So somebody critiqued the Hex postcards, and as I always listen to the critiques, right? Because I don't want us to waste money anywhere. And one of the feedbacks was that we should design these Hex postcards like real estate designs postcards. And so like real estate will send, if you're a real estate agent, you'll send postcards to an area that you're interested in representing. You'll do it like 3 times, and you'll have professional layout, easy to read pictures, very modernist. And I think that's the direction that I'll go whenever it is that I follow through with this sponsorship idea. You guys have any ideas on that, or want to change the subject?
Uh, because we are nearing the 1 hour mark, I don't know whether and we have enough topics to continue, but rather before I forget, I wanted to give a shout out for the Crypto Wonder podcast. I now I've been told they gave me a shout out, so tit for tat, which also reminded me of a joke, a dirty joke. I know people like to hear those, so I'm going to tell it anyways. So there is this woman uh, who has triplets. So she names them Matt, Pat, and Tat. So she feeds Matt with the right breast and Pat with the left breast. So what is the moral of the story?
Blue nipples.
No, no tit for tat. So that's a PJ, a very poor joke, but I will go with it. Like these are called fillers. So till people come up with ideas to talk, the regarding the treasury, like I had previously mentioned this idea of you know every year ki- there is a festival or a sacrificial ritual where goats are sacrificed, so people buy up uh, goats, young goats. Young goats are called kids, so people buy kids to fatten them up, and so that they can be sacrificed to their god later. So if uh, I was thinking of sponsoring that, like buying a goat and maybe let it grow for its complete lifetime, not and not get sacrificed. That's what I was thinking. Or maybe we can just buy it for using Hex, fatten it, sell it, and rebuy the Hex after it is slaughtered or sold off for slaughter. Uh,
Oh
we
my
ca-
God.
Well,
there is
Daraj,
money.
I haven't heard you say like, "Hey, this is my contact in this area."
Uh, so, so
So
the thing is,
that would be
I
cool if
don't
you
have
could
a
connect us to some folks or everybody who's listening to this. Please think about things that we could apply our treasury funds to, and get in contact with those folks and have an idea, and let's start discussing this stuff. But yeah, sacrificing kids sucks.
That's something we can all get behind, other than you Baal worshippers out there.
is
Crypto Wonder, yeah, shout out to him. I have been listening to his stuff. He does like probably 2 audios a week, maybe even more. I do listen to it at a sped up speed. Um, that's how I like to hear his deliveries. But he basically talks about his experience in crypto, and um, he's had experiences from like 2015, 16, 17. So he was able to see all sorts of shit coin whatever they call that.
Shenanigans.
Sh- and and he was also seeing like how communities are, and the ups and downs of those things. And so he's been calling out, like he's been making it to where like a lot of us who are able to see the negativities brought to us from people inside of our circles, we're actually able to not feel alone by recognizing the shit thoughts that people bring and promote. And then he's basically just like calling it out, man. Us men need to be men. We need to step up and solidify. And if you go and you look at the early streams that I have done related to the Hex community, or related to everything, like I haven't spoken with what seems to be solidarity, like with any like real solid backing. I would have like a shaky voice, or I wouldn't look at the camera, and like deliver stuff and really believe it, or it would look like that. But like as we go further, more and more this fake internet money is becoming solid money, and there's more conviction. And so here we are, capable of going and filling that void and standing up with conviction.
Yeah.
A lot easier when they don't have a monopoly on what is considered currency, and they can't just print it all out of thin air and fund their wars in the process. Once the price goes up and there's enough of us with enough, pull in the society, especially if the dollar tanks, that's gonna be suitable enough for me and the people that I've already told about Hex. So I feel like it's definitely like it's probably already been won. There's probably already a checkmate 3 years down the road, but I'm very excited about that and the idea, like it's interesting to want to send postcards and cards to the affluent communities, which possibly might pump the price, but the affluent people in my community are a bunch of libtard losers that I don't want to know about Hex at this price point. And I could care less if it pumps our bags.
Yeah. It's like if you put a billboard up, in your town, it's almost like you would turn on the wrong people to it, people that you don't want to have this opportunity.
Yeah. I've already told like the most, influenceable people, not like people that I would want to have more money. I told them, however far that's gotten me, which, most people, this is such a long-term play.
Yeah.
That it's just like, and it's basically the people, even if people did get in this cycle because they saw a billboard or whatever, they'll probably get washed out this cycle and then they're not around for the next one. So it's whatever. I mean, you tell as many people as you want. I mean, they're probably only gonna be able to last so long anyway.
And do you think we could do like outrage mail advertisement and get away with it? Like, do you think it would be okay to just like write people some crazy shit and say like brought to you by hex.com, and then people like no media is bad media sort of thing? Or could we actually have bad media?
Yeah, I mean that Richard's done a lot of that.
Yeah, that thing applies to personal celebrities, not yeah. So like yeah, businesses have a kind of a repute to protect. So
Yeah.
bad publicity is sometimes bad publicity. I did want to address what Johnny was saying
Yeah,
that
let's talk
yeah,
about that.
you
So
think people,
Johnny's in the chat. He says, "Do you think you have there are friends in Hexaco, dude lols. What do y'all think a friend is? Have you even had one before? Y'all treat each other like shit." That's very
look,
hilarious. I I will tell you that I do have friends in Hex and friends that yes, I brought friends into Hex, but also I have made friends inside the Hex community. And I've met with them in person. I have relied on them in person. So we do get along, but I would say that yes, a lot of folks are here for greed, and a lot of people, especially on Twitter, are greedy little shits. I'm just fine saying that. Um, but it's you do realize that Hex crypto highlights qualities inside of a human being. So if they're able to survive in Hex crypto, most likely they will have general respect for you and your loved ones. What were you going to say, Daraj?
one thing I wanted to say, yeah, when there is deep friendship, there is some kind of horseplay that always goes around. So I see a lot of people talk shit, and then later are all buddies. But regarding Hex, I do have few like yeah. So my best friends are in uh, like I onboarded my best friends into Hex, which is a different thing. I tried to consider everyone in the Hex community as friends, only to be disappointed. And like I think there is this old saying that it's regarding politics, that in politics there are no permanent friends, only permanent interests. So I am of that nature. Like at least I feel that now everybody has their own interest at heart,
Yeah.
which is kind of true. Like in like what
Right
you are
now,
doing.
we're all on the same corporate ship with the same 401k. You know, that's basically what this is. I don't agree with the guy that's over there in the engineering department, and I don't agree with the guy that's over there in HR. But we're all on the same team. Um, but seriously, like you can go and create a fucking username on Twitter, and like there is no minimum bar for you to pass. Like everybody still has. This is why Richard made Scivive and why Richard pushed Scivive. You know, like thanks, man. Um, guys, we have to clean ourselves up, and it's up to the individual. And there you are standing alone with your wallet address. Asperger's, give us.
Yeah. Where did we just go from friends? It sounded like it went. Oh, your personal responsibility. That would be ideal over the concept of having friends. I mean, pushing other people towards, being as personally responsible for themselves as possible would make more friends. In my book, if I knew more people that were more personally responsible for their own energy and money and everything that they would call something outside of themselves, if they're more responsible for that and for themselves, if that was taught at a deeper level within any community, this one, the next one, the neighbor down the street, D-Raj halfway around the world, people that are personally responsible for themselves and others. I mean, that's like what the golden rule, or the first and second commandment. If you don't know any of the other laws, know these two laws: love the Lord God as you love yourself, and love your neighbor as yourself. But that just goes into each person's individual capability of being responsible enough to be able to know and accept and allow love into their own lives. Some people haven't been able to take that step and are allowing other things to get in the way of experiencing love for themselves, their personal self that they call whatever. Call yourself anything you want. But if you're allowing love into your life, you're winning. And I hope we get a lot of people that chose Hex that can continue to win and know what that means, what these things mean that are being discussed within the community. It is a very long-term thinking for people that are going to be here if you weed out the bull crap and have an ability to weed that out.
Very nice.
I'm going to be here.
But one last thing I would like to add on is, don't expect to make new friends over the internet. Like, yes, it is possible, but it is very rare. I always recommend, when it comes to crypto, like DTA, DCA and DTA, that is dollar cost average, and don't trust anyone. So yeah, that's a different story altogether. And everybody is human. These emotions do come into play, and the biggest one is being an envy. uh, so yeah, people get, that's why, for never talk about, I like Richard Hart's words, and
I don't talk about my crypto, is what Richard says.
no, yeah. So talk about crypto, but not about your crypto. I do. People try to. Oh, what league are you in? I say I'm just a shy shrimp with the confidence of a whale. That's it. I'm just a shy shrimp. Somebody join. Oh, crypto truth joined. And
Oh.
we have.
What up, Truth?
What up?
Hey,
How you doing?
tell us, like, we've got a topic now, and it's friends on the internet and friends in crypto. What do you think about the relationships that you've formed? Have they some of them set you up and some of them let you down?
I mean, I think in all aspects, we've been brought up and brought down based on the relationships that we've built. Definitely, I have kindled relationships with like you guys. I feel like I felt that I've built friendships and mentors within you guys, because there's so many people who know different things than we do, and based on the areas that you live in, the profession that you have a different perspective in life, and it's just really impactful when you're bold enough to share your insights. And so it really helps you to change and grow in a more rapid pace than say in your local area, because you're used to the norm wherever you're at, and there's people doing similar things to what you do as they participate in the same classes, the same schools, the same everything. I mean, if you're in the same town, you're doing pretty much the same things. If you're in a different country, pretty much everything's different. And then if you're related to the country that you're you were a part of, and you leave and you're in another country, you offer different aspects. And so, like, as far as friendships, I feel that I'm building relationship with you guys. As far as crypto related, the education system is unmatched and unparalleled because there's a care and concern for directing for the right path, like not meme coins, like what's gonna last, like things that are of value and of worth, and what makes something valuable and worthy. So I think there's pluses and minuses depending on what you're looking for. People that are just looking for emotional stability, I think they're getting wrecked all over the place because most people don't take this seriously. And so you get a lot of wishy-washy answers, and you get a lot of unrealistic interactions. People don't take it seriously. They're not trying to build a relationship. They just want to build their bags, as they say. So it depends on what somebody's looking for. For me, from my perspective, I've been looking for everything, like, and not just a one thing. Like, it's who can you share your time with that isn't going to waste your time, and that reflects everything in life. And so for me, it's been a lot of the sci-fi reality, like how can we help one another to grow and to build, and what's the most true and realistic way to pursue that. And so I think our community is really mixed and really fills a lot of the areas that people are trying to search for. As far as, if you want a friend, there's people that are looking just to have friends on here. If you're looking to learn about crypto, there's people on that. If you're looking just on, home life, garden life, technology related, like there's all these different aspects. So that's my take.
Yeah, I think Asperger's earlier sort of answered this question, but like, what is the real weight of a friend anyway? Like, how much are you relying on a friend in the amount of your life? Aren't there just pinpoint times where like maybe you would need some support, feeling like you're not alone, or actual resource support, making it to where like maybe it graduates into a temporary partnership and then pull back. But like life, my friend's not making my heart beat. This stuff is up to me.
Right.
Your friend isn't forcing you to go work out or have a better life. I mean, they're taunting you to do so, but it's all up to the individual.
Hey,
Yeah, I think it's inspirational, right?
Yeah.
Maybe we should be asking money to so what his definition of a friend is first before he was started this conversation.
Let's see. You need to repeat that, and then I need to mute Truth for a second.
No, I was just saying, Johnny 5555 asked the question, what do you all think a friend is? Maybe we should ask his opinion as to what he thinks a friend is or should be. Maybe we can get a more better overview of it, and maybe.
Yeah, right on. Johnny 555 or Kraus, or if you're still in the chat, please respond to that. What do you think a friend is, and what's the role of a friend? Daniel's in the chat. He's saying, I like Crypto Heartbeat, saying consider the guy next to you and don't mess with Texas. I too, I'm in Central Texas, and I do attend our Texas nationalist meetings. I want that to happen. Let's give the people the option. Truth, do you have something to say?
Yeah, I would like to say that it's definitely a personal decision. Like you can't have a general, like there's no way to really have a general definition on a personal view on friendship, because people actually hold on dearly to friendships as if they're family, right? And up until the friendship has been broken, or the trust has been broken, then it's really reliant on an individual basis, because you have really large dependencies, interrelated, dependent on the relationships that have been cultivated, dependent on the time and the duration that has been spent in each individual case. In my situation, isolated through personal decision for 8 years here in Dominican, because I I guess I was offended and I was hurt by relationships that I had and that I had elected to have. And so I thought it was best maybe to just cut myself off from everything to start fresh and in a new country. And I guess it has taught me to be more independent. But I just, it's funny we're talking about this. I just had a guy that was trying to call me today that I looked at like a brother here, but I had ended up cutting him off a couple years ago, and really just cut him off because he had done something with my ex, and it was kind of like secretive, but I had to like, and it still wasn't clear. He was like, "No, that's not true. It didn't happen." He was trying to explain to me today. He's like, "You know, we gotta get together," and I was like, "No, we're not gonna get together, my brother. It's okay." And he's like, "Why not?" And I was like, "I mean, because of what you did." And he's like, "But what did I do?" And I was like, "You know what you did. You did that with her." And he's like, "No, how could, you're like my brother. How could it be? How could you think that?" And I was like, "It's okay. I'm all right, man. It's like years ago, you know. I'm past that. But let's just like, you do you. I'm gonna do me." But I think it's key not to let everybody in your space. And it's important to build relationships because, like you were discussing, it's resourceful, but it can be helpful in your growth. There are healthy relationships that are going to help you to grow in many aspects. It's just there's always that line that you can be tainted or something can happen to reverse the effects that it's had on you. And to not cross that line, that boundary, is where the sensitivity is. Like I think that's why it's a case by case basis. Like you have to look at what you're trying to get, where you're going, and like what you want out of the relationship. Are you looking at it just for you? Are both sides looking at both sides, or is it one sided? Are we understanding the information that's being conveyed, you and I both, or am I just trying to lead you along the path? I mean, it's really it's kind of complex. These personal relationships can be misleading, but I think overall they're helpful as long as you have a positive, benevolent mindset.
You make me think about life being a numbers game where we're just a bunch of puzzle pieces. Some of us work together, some of us don't. Some of us are temporary attachment to each other. Daniel's over here in the chat. He says, "You cannot win alone." Richard cannot have glory without the community. That should give you some trust into Richard Hart products. Just consider, what is your position? Everything depends on that.
I'm 100% in the community because of
We can't hear you very well. It's like you're covering the mic.
He might have his thumb over the microphone.
100% in the community because of Richard Hart, Victor, Felix, Awad SJ, and Eco Builder. I mean, you guys have really helped mentor me, like to push beyond limits that I've had. and it's coming along on my side. I'm still trying to get things together. As you can tell, I'm still socking it up here. It's complex, but I'm making it. I'm making it happen. These are ready to go. Yeah.
But I think what you're pointing out is that who you just named are columns inside the community. We stay put, and we deliver the same message, and we give our time and attention to folks. And it's all in the hope that everybody will rise together and that the truth will be sought out. I can't control you. I can't control people. I can't deliver more energy to somebody, but I can provide information, and people can grow or correct or whatever on their own. And that goes back to one of the first things I said in the stream: abundance, believing in abundance. So let's find a way to wrap up here. Does anybody have any final words?
I don't know what you guys consider, but I still consider myself a friend to everyone. And sometimes I feel I am the white crayon in the box. Nobody likes it, but hopefully someday I'll be useful to paint a better picture. That's all I want to say. Yeah.
Hey, I remember you saying the other day, once you go brown, they knock you down. So I thought you were gonna say you were the brown crayon, my brother. But yeah, you got the white one. That's all right.
I thought you said the yellow one. Which one did he say?
He said white.
Because it's the most, usually it is the least used crayon.
I saw a
Brown one
YouTube
is,
video
of course,
recently
the best.
talking about the purpose of the white crayon, and it was to paint over the top of it. So you put down the white crayon, and then you paint over the top of it, and then you scratch the surface, and then it had just waxed protected that surface everywhere where you had put the white.
I was thought you were going to say it has more importance to the US Marines in their younger ages. But
It's over my head, man.
For eating, that's the main purpose of using the white crayon. Who like, yeah, it's a advanced technique for drawing or painting with the crayons, like the white and cover over that. I don't think any school kid is even using that or is aware of that. Now
Agreed.
that it is, anyways, the
Try that.
90%.
I get a lot of crayons.
All right, Asperger's, sign us off.
Yo, the price is going up. Keep it up. Let's go. Hex to the moon.
Later, everybody. Thanks so much for everybody joining us. We really appreciate the guests, of course.
Okay, muchas gracias, caballero.
We're continuing here at the Hex Guild.
You're the man down. Oh, Echo Builder. Yeah,
Thanks,
keep
man.
it real. Build that ecosystem. Huh?
Yeah.
We're making it happen. I hope to one day I'm gonna host a Hex Pulse Chain Pulse Hex event here in Dominican Republic. I'm gonna have the place. Look, I'm trying to rank this place right in front of me. It's gonna be like $300. I got this place right now. It's huge. Look at this. I mean, it's not huge. That's a front street. I'm trying to do it. I'm gonna paint the side of it. We gotta make it happen. I'm sorry. I figured we end it with that, huh? We gonna make it happen. The truth.
Trying to find the buttons. Everybody take care. We'll see you next time.
Yeah.